Okay, so last question for the panel, and then we'll open it up, is what is your advice to government officials, to students, to those who are in the audience who want to advance social change through emerging technology? And so, AJ, I think we'll start with you.
My advice would be to be patient. And I mean that in two ways. One, if you're thinking about building a product or a company, please don't quit your day job until you have product market fit and funding. It's not fun. Like as hard as you think it is to do a job and then do something at night for your side hustle, it's a lot harder to be worrying about, feeding yourself and your co-founder. So hang on to that paycheck for a while. But I think more philosophically, be patient in the sense that if you want to do something for social good, more likely than not, you're going to be working on a problem that is decades, if not centuries, in the making. And I think it would be naive to think that you're going to move the needle because, AI exists now, or you thought of something that someone else didn't think of. So, it's hard to have that sort of patience when you're trying to ship product in 2-week sprints. But I think the great leaders find a way to balance that urgency and the ability to step back and think about, like, what does this look like 10 years from now? So,
excellent. Stephanie?
I think a lot of times we think about social and environmental issues as moral problems, which they are. But I encourage everyone to realize they're also like systems design and systems thinking problems. And I think that's the opportunity. When you're building, think about the future that you're looking for, design the system or redesign the system to have the better outcome. So the better outcome is the default. And when I say better outcome, I'm a big proponent of, yes, what we do is for people and planet, but you can't also forget the profit. I've always said there has to be an economic incentive or reason. Otherwise, from a business, a human, or whatever sense, it does not make sense for someone to adopt it. And so if you can find solutions that align all of those, I think then you've got a win-win-win. And how do you say no to that? The other thing I just wanted to quickly mention, I think a lot about with this technology, some of the unintended consequences, and some of that, I don't know, there's a lot of concern out there about human labor, right? People and jobs and good jobs and what's going to be there. And the one thing I will say in my experience is that as amazing in technology is, and as much as the job landscape is shifting, oversight, human desire, human emotion, trust, people, that is not going away. And so I think that although things are shifting, there is still a massive need for humans and people and connection.
Great. Jacob?
Yeah, I really like those two answers, but I think I would maybe add do your research. I think the cool thing about new technology is there's new technology all the time, and I think learning, like finding out exactly like what you want to work with that could best serve your idea, I think is like worth the patience to kind of figure that out. But also on top of that, I think one of the great things about this interconnected world that we now have is that there aren't that many novel ideas. There's like lots of other people out there who have probably had similar thoughts or similar ideas anywhere like around the world. And especially if your goal is to do social good, I think people who are in that field are much more likely to want to help you with your idea in helping your community wherever you might be. So I feel like doing your research on the back end for that as well and trying to find others you can collaborate with would also be very beneficial.
Great. Ben?
And those are all great ideas too. I mean, from my standpoint, having been in the trenches for 10 years now as elected official, 10 years, I now have a completely different sort of worldview. And I can like through a story. I took my daughter to the La Brea Tar Pits in LA. Sure, have been there. It's these old oil pits with these dinosaur bones in them. It's really cool. And some of them are outside the museum on Wilshire, this busy street. And so we were walking on the sidewalk, and the Wilshire street is like 7-8 lane road, almost like a highway, very busy road. And we're walking, and she's looking at the dinosaur mastodon bones in the tar, loving it. And then an electric Lamborghini pulls up right next to us. And my daughter dropped the elephant bones and was like, "Oh my God, look at that spaceship." I was like, "Yes, that's amazing." And so that highlights everything that I'm going to recommend to you right now is you build parallel systems. Don't wait for the people in control of the dinosaur bones to go your way. Build a parallel system that creates a greater gravitational force and eventually subsumes the other one. And that's what crypto did. You know, they called us crazy back then, right? Now we are the new world, right? And the petrodollar is breaking apart and moving into digital assets. So, you know, that's what I've seen work. And again, I tell you this as a bureaucrat, build a parallel system.
I will also say, I would just add to folks, there's a lot of ways that you can educate yourself around new technologies. So one of the ways that I've taught myself a bit about blockchain law was through alerts that are put out by law firms like K&L Gates, these firms are really on the front lines, right? And so K&L Gates has offices all over the place. So they're seeing all the things that are happening across the world, and they put out these great newsletters and alerts and things like that that allow us to learn from that. I will say also, Dr. Evans helped me quite a bit. I read a lot of your content and your books, and I think there's a way to self-educate in this area when it comes to new technology that is unique and is different than other things, because there are so many resources enabling you to do it. And so I really recommend, if you're interested in it, there's all kinds of ways that you can get involved. The center is doing a webinar. We do webinars. We're doing one next week. There's all kinds of ways that you can get involved with this space. So I really encourage you to think about that.